Hello everybody, welcome to Sane Game Studios. I'm Sane, I'm an amateur game developer. Today actually I'm going to be doing another devlog on the project that I'm currently working on. Little disclosure, I didn't really prepare a video for this week. I happened to throw my back out at work and I've been almost immobile and I haven't worked on any of my projects because of that, because just sitting at my computer right now is just agonizing. But I release a video every week. I'm going to have to suck it up and do a video. So here I am doing a devlog because one, it's something that I've been meaning to do, and two, it is something that I can do because I didn't take the time to think of like a tutorial or something to do. I'm also planning on doing another episode of the indie side soon. My first two episodes of that didn't really gain much traction and didn't get a whole lot of views, but I chalked that up mostly to poor audio quality. And honestly, they're the type of videos that I would really like to do because it means that I just get to play indie games and then talk about how I feel about them, which to me sounds like fun. But, another thing, my dog is out and two of my cats are also in the living space. So you might hear me yell at my dog a little bit. You might hear her bark at cats. The dog loves the cats do not love the dog. But with that, we can jump right into what I have going on for my project here. I've added a few things since my last devlog, if you guys have watched it. If you haven't watched it, I honestly wouldn't really recommend it because since that devlog, I have bought a mic, and during that devlog, my audio quality was absolutely terrible, and you could barely hear me. So now that I have a new microphone set up, I'm going to show you guys what I have going on. I'll play a little bit of the game, and I'll show you what it's like right now. Since the last time, I've added a bit of art. If you go into my objects, I have enemies. That's rooms. Objects. Next, come here. Leave the cats alone, please. Stay. So I've actually only added two enemies. I've added a golem, which is this guy here. I've trying to make it a stealth platformer. I've done it so that the golem actually has a handful of states, which are mostly summed up in the code for enemy parent. That way I can pretty much just swap the sprite, change some variables, and I'd have another enemy. But the golem will either patrol or stand in one spot and face a specific direction that I tell it to face. And then once it makes eye contact with the player, which if you're curious as to how I did the line of sight mechanic, I did do a tutorial on how I did it. And then once it makes eye contact with the player, it then goes to investigate the current player position. If it no longer sees the player, it goes to that position, looks around a little bit, and then attempts to return home. If it is not able to return to its original position, it will then start patrolling that position, whether or not it was patrolling before. And then if it can still see the player, it will speed up, approach the player, and then attack once it gets close enough. This game is just one hit kill. So there is no health system. That's how I want it to be. But so if the enemy touches you, you die. I've also created a lot more light objects. Here, I'll show you one of my levels here. So in this level, you start off over here. You drop down. You got to deal with this enemy. You go down here. You got to deal with that enemy. And by deal with, I mean you have to either figure out a way to get the environment to eliminate the enemy, or get around the enemy. So like with this enemy here up top, it is rather simple to just lead it into the spikes and have it die. With this enemy, you can either slide down the wall, have it see you, and then get up and out of its way, and it will lead into the spikes, or you can take this path up here. This here is a barrier that only the orb of light can pass through. And then this is an obstacle course that I built for the Orb of Light. I'm thinking about toning it down a little bit because during my playtesting, it has actually been rather difficult. And this is like the first real level of the game. And I think I'm kind of expecting too much out of the player base going into this. They specifically have trouble with this narrow slanted area here with the spikes, as well as this area here. Just they either A, run into the wall here, have trouble getting down without hitting either side, or they go down too quick and they hit the spikes down below. This here is a light switch that controls all these doors that are connected to it with these blue lights. So it'll open that door, and this door. And then I did the same thing for this door, but it goes up to this switch. I'll show you guys more of this level when we actually get into the game a little bit. I also thought of a title for this game, so it is no longer just stealth platformer. It is actually now Saga of Sorrow, Shadows Rising Rain. I think it's a good title. My idea is to build a bit of a franchise off of this. So this is my plan actually is for this to be a prequel to my next game, which will play a lot like a top-down Zelda game. And I already have a plan for like the storyline and everything. How they're going to tie together. Kind of a loose plan. I find that I'm better off flying off the cuff with lore, generally speaking. I'm pretty good at just slapping a story together and having it actually turn out pretty good. So I don't have too much, like I have like the overall story plan, but I don't have all the details all laid out. I'm just kind of figuring those out as I go. That's not something I recommend to do, but that's just kind of how I roll. This is my main menu, as you can see. It has links to a Discord server that I've set up, but I haven't put anything in yet. An Instagram page, again, set up, and I haven't put anything in yet. And then this will take you to my YouTube channel. Down in the bottom corner, I have opening menu controls, so that when you open up, you know exactly how to interact with the menu. I personally find it a little bit annoying when games don't do that. But as soon as you select something, the game assumes you know how to use the menu, and it gets rid of those controls. I also have it set here so that this gives you all the controls for the game. And then you could either save your changed controls or not save them, and it will automatically revert back to the default controls. Yeah, so I can just at any point, I can just be like, I want brighter to instead be the L key, and it will change the icon, change everything. I don't actually want that. I do want it to stay as the D key. Say I want pause to be the escape key. I can just set it to the escape key, no problem. My pause system works, my run system works. My run, it has 3 options. You have hybrid, toggle, and hold. And toggle and hold are exactly what they sound like, where if you have it set to toggle, if you press the run button, it will just turn running on and you will just continuously run. And then while you're running, if you press it again, you go back to walking. Hold is, again, what it sounds like. If you just hold the run button, you will run. But then if you release the run button, you will stop running. Hybrid, this is something that actually I really liked. It's something that I built very early in the prototype of my game. And it's something that actually I wasn't sure about. So actually I posted on Reddit about it and I got some feedback. And that is why I made it an option here. But with hybrid, if you quickly tap the run button, it will toggle it. But if you hold it, it will treat it like a hold. And then if you toggle run on, you can hold to walk as well. So I think it's actually a really good system. It's a little bit hard for me to show you how it works. But if you guys wanted a copy of the demo, I'm sure I might be able to hook you up. It depends. Gotta get through some testing first. And then eventually when I'm ready to put this on Steam, I'll be putting my existing demo on Steam with a trailer kind of tacked onto the end of it. I'm going to return without saving. Oh, language. I also have the game available in 19 different languages. Actually, no, I think I dropped it down to 18 different languages. They are all fully translated. They completely work. If you're curious as to how I did my localization and my languages, I again did a tutorial on that. I use a CSV file and I import that into my game data files. And then I use that to control all of my text displays on screen. So like if I change it to Norwegian, for example. Everything in the game now shows up as Norwegian. But yeah, everything works. My font's a little bit iffy on some characters, so every time that I do like a decent amount of translating, I always go through and play it in every single language. It can be rather tedious, but I want to make sure that it works on everything. My file system also absolutely works. At any point in time, I can just select a file. It will give me the option to play, erase, or return. And then if I choose to erase, it will say, this is permanent. Are you sure? You select yes or no. Menu systems, although they look simple, are not. They take a long time to build, and they are an absolute pain in the ass. Oh, another thing I did actually in the volume is I built these sliders, and they're also very, very easy to do. Maybe that's what I'll do for my next tutorial, is I'll show you guys how to make sliders for adjusting game volume and other things. They are actually rather simple to make. That's actually a pretty decent idea. But with that, let's jump into the game. I'm probably going to cut out the opening cutscene, just because 1, I'm not a huge fan of it, but 2, also, I really like after that. I'll show you guys my tutorial system and all that kind of stuff. One thing I do like that I did is that my opening cutscene actually takes place in the same room that my title menu is in. So when you are starting a new game, instead of being warped into the game, the camera just pans down until it reaches like the bottom of the room, and then the opening cutscene initiates from there. Oh, so actually I do really like this cutscene. Next! Getting the orb to do those figure eights took me a little bit of research to figure out how to do. I don't like how it looks when it first starts them, but it's really hard to clean up, and it's honestly kind of like complicated math. It's not complicated code, but it's complicated math, and I didn't really want to mess with it like too much. I'll be looking at the recordings, obviously, during the editing process. I really hope that you guys can hear the music for my game. This song, actually, I was kind of torn between like 3 or 4 songs for this set of levels, and I had my girlfriend actually choose the song that was actually used in the final product. Right, so immediately the game opens up into the tutorial. So it tells you how to play the game. So it'll tell you to press left or right button to move, and as soon as you start moving, once you get past a certain threshold, that disappears. Then you get closer, and it teaches you how to jump. Teaches you to jump at a ledge to grab it, and how to climb up. Here it teaches you to run, and then to use the running to do a long jump. This pit is not very big, and I believe, I'm not going to test it right now, but I believe that if I jump in that pit, I will just respawn right next to it rather than having to reload the game. This part here, okay, so I get caught in here, and my collisions are absolutely identical. The objects that I have for the collisions are the freaking same. Like they line up perfectly. I don't know why it gets caught here. But anytime you press W, the main character sits down, and you swap control over to the orb. The orb can be a little bit hectic to control. I think I'm going to change up how it controls, just because it treats its left and right. Oh, sorry, it's X and Y axis as separate movements, and then adds them together. So it moves considerably faster on the diagonal. But I think I was thinking about it wrong. It's like in my head when I'm programming this, I'm building a platformer game. So I was thinking about platformer movement when I need to treat this like it's top-down movement. You can also change the brightness of your companion. You can even flash it. So yeah, you can turn your lights on and off, which is the whole like flashing on and off and adjusting the brightness isn't a mechanic that I've played around too much with level design yet. It is something that I've implemented and something that has to be used to fight the first boss. The first boss is incredibly easy if you know how to flash your lights on and off. This is a save point. When you get close to it, it does that animation and the blue light fills it, and that's how you know that it's been saved. And then the save point is eligible to be used again, its lights will turn off. Drop down here, it finishes the tutorial, and now dying is not treated as a respawn, now it's treated as a game over, and you have to reload your save file from the... But here I'll be able to show you some some enemy behavior. So I have this enemy here, and he just chills there. And like the whole point of him being there is to introduce the player to enemy behavior. I was having an issue where if I was hanging off a ledge and an enemy was patrolling, when they got close to the ledge, it would kill you. I've fixed that by making them not get quite so close to the edge, because a player should feel safe hanging off the edge. But if I get up, that happens, and then that happens. If it's yellow, he will calmly go and inspect the area that you were in. So if I go and look, he's going to look back and forth, see whether or not he can get eyes on the player. And if he can't, he will return to another position, back to where he was if he can reach it. But if not, find a new position and stay there. If it goes red, then he will chase after you and try to kill you. I started each level with a save point. Here, I'll show you how to kill enemies. So the only way to kill enemies is to get them trapped in an environmental hazard like that, and then they will die. See that enemy there? I've kind of designed it so that instead of trying to kill him, you can avoid him. But enemies aren't very smart, and they don't detect the traps. They will just blindly walk into them. And this here is a switch. I use light sources as the switch, but they open these doors here, and then I use these blue paths so that the player knows, like if they see a door that's closed, they can follow the paths to reach the switch that controls it. So like if I hit this switch, these doors will open. And then as you can see, it continues down here. And now this door is open, but you still got to open, one more door to be able to progress through to the end of the level. Down here is that area that I was talking about. That is like it. Here I'll show you. The player is unable to pass through this. So yeah, the player is unable to pass through this. So, but the light orb can. So if you sit down, you can pass right through. I need to turn off running for this. But, yeah, this obstacle course built for the companion light orb. And then I can show you guys how my collisions are all working. Like, I'm not going to go over the code for them, but I can show you how they're placed in the level. The spikes are actually kind of forgiving. So, so you can kind of skirt along the edges of them, and they're not going to hurt you. You can actually the top half of the spike is almost not, it's non-collidable. It's only the bottom half. I find that when it comes to collisions like that, you're much better off to err on the side of the player, because nobody wants to get frustrated being stuck on somewhere stupid like that, you know? Oh, then going to this level, I also have a cutscene entering it. And then, yeah, those lights down on the ground are currently on, but like they'll turn off during the cutscene. And yeah, once you get control of the player again, you see there are 4 doors with 2 paths leading in each direction, and then each direction is also in of itself another level. I tried to build it all as one big level, but I think that due to the performance cost of my lighting system, when I made my levels too big, I started getting a lot of frame rate loss, like below 60 frames per second, which I have the game set at, and that was, to put it mildly, less than ideal. Right. Oh, so here's an enemy that's patrolling. So if I hang out on the edge right here, the enemy doesn't get close enough to kill me. Originally, it did. There are multiple ways to get past this enemy. The way that I intended, Nix, come here, was to swap to the orb, go through here. Oh, I died. See, the orb controls are actually a little bit finicky, and I think that if I change them to be working with length dial R and length dial X and length dial Y, I think that by creating a vertex rather than moving in each axis separately at the same time, then I would be able to fix a little bit of the jankiness with the orb controls. So that's the way that I intended for the player to defeat that enemy. But when I put it through testing, and actually this is like a little bit of like a cheat, like just generally speaking in the game, what the player that I had it testing did is they just did this. And I thought about trying to figure out a way to block that from happening, like maybe having a door that that blocked this off, that opened when the enemy died. But then the way that I have doors working in game with these switches and the light paths, there's just not really a good way for me to communicate that to the player. And then also, it's kind of up to the player how it is that they wish to tackle the obstacles that I put in the game for them. So like, I kind of feel like I should just leave it. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys one more thing about this. Well, 2 more things about this game. One of them is a feature that I added that I think is rather cool. The other one is a bug that I actually plan to keep in the game because personally I think it is funny. I went to a different save file. I went to file 1. Alright, so one thing that I've put in the game is that if you're controlling the orb and you go somewhere, let's say I go up here, and I decide to swap control. Oh shit! swap control to the player again, if I do that, the orb will make its way back to me. And if you guys are curious as to how I did that, I detailed how to do that in my enemy pathfinding tutorial. But I learned how to do it with 1UP Indie's enemy pathfinding tutorials. If you guys are really curious as to how I did that, how I pulled that off, you can either watch that tutorial or you can watch 1UP Indie's. They are both awesome, in my opinion. I think 1UP Indies are a little bit more thorough, but 1UP Indie actually gave me a shout out on his page that I'm really thankful for the tutorial that I did of his. And I also have almost everything in this game running on a state machine. My player runs in a state machine. My orb runs in a state machine. My enemies are on state machines. My camera is even on a state machine. That way I can have manual control of it when I want. I even have a state where I have keyboard control of the camera, so I can use it to check boundaries, look at things. That's a state that I will be removing for the final product, but I will be leaving it in for as long as it's relevant for me to use. One of those dev tools, right? But yeah, one thing that this is, it's not exactly a bug, but it is something kind of funny that you can do that I've been debating whether or not to leave it in the game. But I do think I'm going to leave it in the game. If you jump, because when you sit down and you take control of the orb, if you jump and do that, you'll just sit in the air. And that is because in my code for doing this, I just have him sitting when you hit the button. I don't do a check to make sure that he's on the ground first. And it's just an oversight in my part. But also, I think it's kind of funny, so I think I'm going to leave it. But yeah, like I said, I just want to show you guys what it is that I'm working on. It's a poorly planned video. Again, like I said, I threw my back out at work, and I'm feeling really sore, and it hurts actually right now to be sitting at my computer doing this. So because of that, I haven't been doing any game development lately, which sucks because it's something I love to do. If you have any comments about my project, if you have any ideas, anything that you think that it could be implemented into the project. Unless you are going to recommend a health system, I'm just going to shut that down right now. This game is not going to be getting a health system, so that's just not how I plan to make this game. If you drop down here, you'll end up going to the first boss. That's why it has an ominous green glow happening under there. I have the boss built. The boss works. It's a rather simple boss, easy to defeat, but it's also the first boss, so I kind of want it to be that way. And it leads into the first major storyline narrative and first large cutscene of the game. Yeah, if you have any comments, if you like what you see, please let me know. If you don't like what you see, please let me know. If you have, like I said, any ideas for what you'd like to see in a game like this, let me know. If you're interested in being a playtester for it, let me know. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to outsource testing to people that I know online, but it is an idea that I am considering. At the very least, when this game does get further along in development, and also especially when it becomes time for release, I do plan to promote it fairly heavily on this channel. This channel is where I'm going to be putting the trailer for the game and all that kind of stuff. I will be doing another devlog once I get some more decent progress into the game. It's probably going to be a while. I think my back injury's got a heal time of 6 weeks, which honestly really sucks. But yeah, so that's all that I have. If you liked this, please like. If you have any comments, please comment them. I love to get feedback on projects that I'm working on. Other than that, please like and subscribe. If you're curious on how I did anything, pretty much everything that I've done in this game is covered in my tutorials, except for my movement system. Honestly, it's really complicated. I spent a long time building it, and only me and God really know how it works at this point. But my dog, as you can hear, is currently antagonizing the cats, and she was actually just whining at the door, so I think I need to take her out to go potty. So, yeah, with that, I'm going to wish you guys a good one. I'm going to thank you all very much for tuning in. And, yeah, please like and subscribe, and peace out.